Yes. So good evening, good afternoon, smart money traders. This is another one, a very quick one. It will not up to 10 minutes, so we'll just take it quickly. And now I'm looking at the liquidity for it, right? We have tried to talk about the institutional reference points. I've talked about the auto block, litigation block, and the breaker block, right? Into details. Now we are going to look at the liquidity void. So what's a liquidity void? From the name of void, a void something or it's a gap, right? A void is something missing something. Just it's something like a gap, alright? So liquidity void, from the name liquidity, when it comes to forex markets, when we hear about liquidity is just money, so it just means a void of money or a gap of money in the market. So this liquidity void is one of the inefficiency in the forex market, right? We have different sort of inefficiencies. We come to talk about them in consequently when we are dealing with other stuff. So we have example of them like a fair value gap is one of the inefficiency in the market. So liquidity void is just another inefficiency. Inefficiency, what's the meaning of inefficiency? Inefficiency is something that's not sufficient. Right? It just symbolizes that something is missing, right? It's unhealthy, right? You can just say it's unhealthy price movement in the forex market, alright? So this unhealthy price movement, it just happens when price moves from a particular point to another quickly, right? This was supposed to be quickly and aggressively and unbalanced, alright? Just when we have price moving from one place to another, if it's an uptrend, we see price moving in an uptrend very quickly, right? And then if it's in a downtrend, we see price moving to the downtrend or to the bearish side very quickly and unbalanced, alright? It is physically true. It is feasible, supposed to be feasible also, through the formation of heavy and the large candles splitting in one direction, alright? I'm sure you have seen something like this when you see price moving an uptrend and suddenly you see price printing very large candlesticks, right? If it's a bullish candle, you see price printing that bullish candle very large, then followed by another large candlesticks in one direction without having any significant sell candle between them, right? So that's what we refer to as liquidity void. It's not usually seen through candles, so just try to see some few here. So this one, and you can see it from this point. You can see how this bullish candles printed heavily. These red candles on my chart, the red candles signifies the upward movement, right? Shows the upward movement. You can see this one here. Let me mark it, right? It is very heavy. You can see how the candlesticks are printing heavily to the upside, right? Now we call this a liquidity void, alright? We see another one here, small one, another liquidity void. The candle splitting in one direction heavily with large momentum, alright? Another one, very heavy candlesticks moving in one direction very heavily. You can also call this liquidity void, price moving in one direction with very large candlesticks, alright? Candlesticks are printing out very heavily, so this is also liquidity void, which is an inefficiency in the market. This is an healthy price action, right? When the price is moving the market, we need to see the balance between buyers and sellers. And when we see this liquidity void to the upward like this, just buying candles printing heavily to the upward, just shows us that we have the inefficiency of sellers, relaxed sellers in that market to balance the market. So the buyers are aggressively moving price without sufficient sellers for the market to be balanced. This is what we refer to as a balanced market. Alright, this one. This is the balanced market. Right, you can see price it's moving in a balanced. We have sellers, buyers in a balanced movement. But when we see price printing heavily, right, with just large candles of one color in one direction, you can just refer to as a liquidity void, alright, or an inefficiency in the market. Alright, there are a lot of them. You can just mark them on your chart. You can just see them over and over again. They're showing on your chart. Now, when we are identifying our liquidity void, there are some characteristics that comes with it. Number one is that our liquidity void, in our liquidity void, we'll see a lot of fair value gaps. Alright, we'll come to tackle what a fair value gap is later on. Actually, it's our next institutional reference point. Right, we'll see a lot of fair value gaps within our liquidity void, and the best part of it is that our fair value gaps will be filled. Alright, either sooner or later, our fair value gaps that are in our liquidity void will come to be filled, just as we can see right here. Right, price came down and filled our liquidity void. Right, you can see it here. So another thing is that when we see liquidity void, we at either immediately or later, price will try to balance the liquidity void. Right, this was our liquidity void to the upward. Price moved to balance it. Alright, a liquidity to the upside, price retraced back to balance it. Alright, a liquidity void up, price moved back, retraced back to balance it. Alright, so liquidity void are never left in the market unbalanced. Alright, you can see the balanced liquidity void, the balance. Alright, either price will balance it immediately or later, but eventually the liquidity void will be balanced or will be filled. Right, the balance. Right, this is a liquidity void. Now this is the balance. The retracement is the balance. A liquidity void. Retracement is the balance of that liquidity void. And we have said the fair value gaps in between our liquidity void will be filled. This fair value gap was filled. We have this fair value gap that was filled through the balance. We have this one, liquidity void to the upside. We have this balance filling the fair value gaps, right? Also have this one, this our liquidity void to the upward, and we have this balance filling everything in, right? We have said liquidity void is an healthy price movement. So price always corrects that unhealthy movement, right? Price will tend to correct that unhealthy movement by giving a corrective retracement, right, in that particular place, like this one. This was a balanced price. This is not a liquidity void. This is a balanced price action or price movement. This was the liquidity void. This one right here. It's a liquidity void to the upside, and then we can see a balance coming in. Right, you can see this retracement is the balance to fill this liquidity void. Right, so whenever you come to the chart and you see a liquidity void, just have it in your mind that price will fill it, either immediately or later. It may fill it up to 50%, or it may fill it completely. Alright, like now we have this liquidity void, and then we have this little balance coming in. Right, it may not fill it 100%, but the filling will be coming in. A liquidity void to the upside, we have this filling or balancing of the liquidity to the downside. Alright, so the balancing of the liquidity void or the filling of the liquidity void comes as in form of a retracement. Alright, we have this one. This was a liquidity void to the downside, right? Then we have this balance, the buying candles, coming in. That was the balance of that liquidity void. Alright, so whenever you come to your chart and you see a liquidity void, we have another one here. A liquidity void, large candle splitting upward. Right, let me adjust it. These red candles, they are a liquidity void to the upward. Where's the balance? These black candles, this retracement, is our balance. Notice how this balance just balanced the liquidity void up to 50%. It did not completely balance it, but it will balance it at least up to 50% of the liquidity void. Right? So a simple start, that's how you identify your liquidity void. Alright? So you can just practice this on chart, live chart. It's very easy, right? You can just look at them, try to identify the liquidity void, and also try to see the correction, alright, all the balance that is coming in to balance the liquidity void. Alright, we have said the balance may not be 100%, but it will try to balance the liquidity void up to 50%.